I was scared. I was scared that if we had sex, I wouldn't be able to stay hard. That's pitiful. We get down to business, and literally for the first time in my life, I'm on concrete mode. So I want you to just imagine that for a second. Going from struggling to stay hard with over 50% of the women that you meet to literally feeling like a god, a beast every time you have sex. And the only thing that changed for me was that I took porn out of my life. That was the only change. This is honestly going to be one of the most important videos I make on this channel. So in this video, I am going to talk about my honest experience with struggling to escape from pornography addiction and how difficult it was. It literally took me years to fully quit. And in this video, I'm going to get pretty vulnerable. I'm going to be as honest with you as possible. I don't talk about pornography addiction often in day-to-day life, but I used to struggle a lot with mental health issues because of my pornography addiction. And I know that I am not the only guy out there like that. Pornography has really gripped men all across the world in its grasp. So I felt that this needed to be talked about. And we're also going to talk about all of the mental and physical benefits that come along with quitting porn. But before we get to any of that, let me tell you a quick story that you might be able to relate to. Let's jump on in. Billy was only 12 years old when he first started watching porn. He was watching TV late at night, his parents were asleep, and a Girls Going Wild commercial popped up. His pubescent body didn't know what in the world was going on, but it knew that it liked it. It was like his brain got its first dose of meth, and he had zero power to fight it. From there, he started constantly seeking out naked and scantily clad women. He would go on TikTok and Instagram, innocently looking at the updates from his friends, but he would accidentally stumble across a picture of a almost naked model. And from there, he would go back down the hamster wheel and begin stroking his dick again. From that point, for the next couple years of his life, Billy literally lives like a porn dog, watching porn 2 or 3 times a day and quickly delving into more depraved types of pornography. He no longer gets turned on by the vanilla sex or the girl-on-girl videos that used to appeal to him. And he's diving deep into all types of disgusting stuff. At a certain point, Billy realizes that he doesn't enjoy watching porn anymore. The magic has completely disappeared, and every time that he masturbates, he feels like a loser afterward. Like he's failed on some deep level that he can't explain. But he can't stop, and over time he manages to convince himself that it's totally normal to live life watching other men have sex with your dream girls every single day. Now, meet Ox. Ox is an evolved man. He's an adapted man. The type of man that El Chapo and James Bond would look up to. Ox used to struggle with porn, but one day he looked deep inside of himself and he asked himself the question, is a couple minutes of pleasure truly worth the cost that I'm paying with my life? It was dampening his personality, destroying his mental focus, making him lose attraction to real women, and just putting a gray filter of lifelessness over every aspect of his life. And he realized that the cost was simply too high for a couple minutes of pleasure and excitement. So he decided to quit. Now, it wasn't easy for Ox, and it literally took him years to fully get rid of the bad habit. But eventually he did, and he immediately felt the change in his life, and so did everyone else around him. He felt more masculine. He was more present with his friends and his family. He was no longer socially awkward. He actually got turned on by real women again. He was more motivated. He no longer felt constant brain fog and mental confusion. But maybe most importantly of all, he no longer needed intense stimulation to feel happy in everyday life. Simply existing felt amazing. He didn't need anything exciting to make him happy. Life was happy. he was happy. But still, although Ox is very happy, he can't help but feel sad sometimes when he walks around on a day-to-day basis and sees the lifeless, zombie-like look in so many men's eyes. It's because he recognizes that look. It used to be him. Now, gentlemen, I have been very excited to make this video for a long time, and this is going to honestly be one of the most important videos on my channel, by far. One of the most important videos on my channel. And I say that because you can put so much effort into improving every single area of your life, but if your head isn't right, then everything else falls apart. And the issue is that pornography infects your mind. It's not just your body, it infects your head. It goes deep in here and makes things in day-to-day life seem less pleasurable. It has so many negative effects. And this is a topic that I am very passionate about, so I'm going to dive deep in this video. And the issue with porn is that it seems so innocent. If you were to tell someone that you were addicted to meth, or that you were addicted to cocaine, or addicted to even alcohol, they would feel empathy towards you and they'd probably try to help you. But if you were to tell someone that you were addicted to porn, what are they gonna do? They're probably gonna laugh at you. They're gonna call you silly. They're gonna say it's in your head. That's fucking unhealthy. And the thing is, pornography is every bit as dangerous as many of those drugs. It is. So in the next video after this one, I'm going to explain how to quit porn. But first things first, I need to explain why you should quit porn. Because my personal opinion is that any goal in life becomes completely achievable as soon as the why becomes strong enough. As soon as you have a good enough reason, any goal becomes possible. But most guys just have no reason to quit porn. They don't think that it's causing any harm to their lives, so they keep pushing along and repeating the same habits for years and years on end. Most guys have been stroking there for the past 5-10 years or longer. Has there been a single month in the past year where you haven't? Has there? Honestly? And like I said, I was like most guys. I managed to convince myself for years that constantly consuming pornography was having zero impact on my life and on my health and on my mental health. And most guys do the exact same thing. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my own experience with porn and quitting porn and how difficult it was. It literally took me years to fully quit. And I'm going to talk about a lot of the benefits that I saw from quitting porn, but also a lot of these struggles that I went through while I was trying to quit. And this is a topic that is very near and dear to me. I genuinely think that watching pornography was probably my worst habit that I've had in the past decade of my life. No exaggeration. I truly think that watching pornography was one of the things that I tried to seek the most comfort within in my life. So like I said, I'm gonna get vulnerable in this video and I'm gonna be as transparent as possible. And hopefully you can relate to some of it, but if you don't, so be it. I'm putting myself out there, and whoever enjoys this and grows from it will do so, and whoever doesn't, whatever. In this video, I'm also going to talk about some of the modern day scientific research behind why men tend to grow so much when they take time away from porn. Because there truly are so many different aspects and branches of science that connect together to say that pornography addiction is absolutely terrible. Terrible. Again, so many men nowadays try to push the entire nofap trend away because they're so comfortable with porn. They've convinced themselves that it's having zero impact on their life. But when you look into the scientific research, and when you look at even ancient societies and ancient philosophers that preached so much about sexual restraint and celibacy, you will see that watching porn is destroying your mind. But anyways, time to get real vulnerable. I'm about to dive into my experience with pornography addiction. Let's do it. So I personally started watching porn when I was only 11 or 12 years old. And it all started with a Girls Going Wild commercial. I was downstairs one night watching TV. My parents had already went upstairs to go to sleep. And suddenly I saw a commercial of these big old, beautiful women just flashing and just being crazy. And my 11-year-old brain did not know what was going on, but it knew that it liked it. It was like I was instantly hooked on a drug. Like, it was completely new and foreign to me, and I didn't know what was happening, but I was instantly addicted. Instantly. It literally hijacked my underdeveloped teenage brain. Literally. And the crazy thing is that most guys start watching porn around this age. And that's so dangerous because that's when our brains are the most plastic. That's when we are the most susceptible to change. So it literally creeps into our minds and rewires how we think and what we're attracted to and what motivates us. We become fragments of ourselves, hollow men. Just think about it. Any 13-year-old in this day and age can literally see more beautiful, naked women from his cell phone in the span of 5 minutes. 5 minutes. More naked women in 5 minutes than any man in history ever saw up until 50 years ago. A 13-year-old who hasn't achieved shit in life. We are not made for that. Our brains are not equipped to handle that type of stimulation. So I started at age 11 or 12, like I said, and I literally watched porn for the next 5 or 6 years of my life, almost every single day, if not every day. And my parents were very devout Christians, so I had to make sure that I never got caught because that would be the end of my life. So I never got caught. And how it would work is me and my older brother, we had a bunk bed, and I would literally wait for him to fall asleep every night, and I would sneak to the side of his bed, creep up all creepy like, make sure he was still asleep, and I would grab his iPod Touch because I did not have any technology at the time. So I would take his iPod Touch, sprint off, and go hide. And back then it didn't take much for me to feel, turned on. I would literally just go on YouTube and I would watch videos of girls completely clothed, just washing cars. Or there was this one College Humor video called "The Problem with Jeggings," and that one was a winner for a while. Yeah. And literally for the first year or two, I didn't know what masturbation was. I never did it. I literally I would get the iPod Touch and I would just stare at it for 30 minutes or an hour and then stop. That would satisfy me. I didn't know what else to do. And I remember when I first discovered what masturbation was. I just one day spontaneously I decided to, and then within seconds, I thought I was broken. I literally thought I had exploded or something. Too much information, I'm sorry. But anyways, my pornography habit continued all throughout high school. And the sad thing is that even when I was 16, 17 years old, I rarely approached girls. I was getting all of my sexual satisfaction from watching virtual girls on a screen. And the thing was, I gradually needed more and more extreme porn in order to feel that same level of stimulation. All that beginner stuff no longer appealed to me, so I was just diving deep into all these disgusting levels of pornography. And then after high school, when I turned 19 years old, I decided to join the military, and I went off on my own, away from my religious parents for the first time in my life. And within a month or two, I got my first taste of real cheeks. It was this beautiful, sexy blonde chick, and we were on the military base late at night in public, and I had a cover, we set it up, and we were watching a movie, and she started touching all over me, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. She was literally rubbing all over me down there, and I wasn't getting hard. And we tried for 20, 30 minutes, and literally nothing happened. I was devastated. It ruined me. And to make things worse, she completely disappeared from my life after that for obvious reasons. But I completely ignored it and I assumed that it must have just been performance anxiety. At the time, I was still watching porn, but I didn't think it was anything connected. So I kept on watching porn as always. So if we fast forward about 2 months from that point in time, I'm still in the military, I'm 19 years old, and I'm at a party with a couple of friends and this chick. And me and the chick, we end up in the bedroom. It's just me and her, lights off, music playing, candle lit. I'm drunk, she's drunk, we have sex, or at least we try to. And once again, I cannot get hard. And we try for a while and nothing happens. So at one point I give up and I hug her. I hug her and I whisper in her ear and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm too drunk. Let's try again tomorrow. And luckily she was very deeply attracted to me, so she didn't make a big deal out of it. So we try again the next day. It's me and her again, alone, and this time I'm completely sober. And we go for it. And once again, I cannot get hard. I get hard for a couple seconds, or even maybe a minute or two, but then it just goes soft in the middle of, it was tough. It was fucking tough. So at that point in time, at 19 years old, I was literally 0 for 3 when it came to sex. I felt like an absolute loser, like I wasn't a man. It was terrible. And deep down inside, I knew that as a 19-year-old man, I should not be struggling to stay hard with beautiful women. I shouldn't. I was in good health. Nothing was wrong with my body, I didn't think. So what was happening? So at that point, I began looking deep into online research and trying to pinpoint what in the world was wrong with me. And I found a lot of herbal remedies and super sketchy drugs and different things. And I didn't really want to try none of those because I had the feeling that nothing was wrong with me physically, because in every aspect of my life, I was very fit. So I thought that it had to be something wrong with myself mentally. And during this time of research, I eventually stumbled on this movement called nofap. And it literally seemed like a cult because these guys were proclaiming that after they quit pornography, suddenly they could levitate or they could finally maintain female eye contact and all of these weird things that made no sense to me. And I honestly thought that it was bullshit. The results that they were claiming just didn't make sense. But one of the biggest things that I saw repeated time and time again in these nofap stories was men would quit pornography for a couple of weeks and they'd be struggling with erectile dysfunction before that. But as soon as they quit, things went completely back to normal. Young men like me, and I mean, that's all I wanted at the time. I didn't care about the other benefits. It didn't really matter to me. I just wanted my dick to work. So I decided to give it a try. So at that point, I decided to take a quick break away from porn to see if anything happens. And I managed to make it for about a week. And by that point, I'm noticing that I'm getting, random boners and just feeling a little bit different inside of myself. So I hit up the girl again, who I've already tried to have sex with twice, but couldn't get hard both times. And again, she's really attracted to me, so she's willing to give it another try. So we get a hotel, we go there for the night. And this is, again, after about a week of me staying away from pornography. And that, it's sad, but that was probably the longest I had ever went without pornography by choice since I was 12 years old, a week. But anyways, me and the girl were at this hotel and we get down to business. And literally for the first time in my life, I'm on concrete mode. Destroy. Whew. Anyways, we have an amazing time that night, and it resets my entire mindset. I put 2 and 2 together that I used to watch porn every day, and I failed to have adequate sex 3 times in a row. I couldn't get hard, and then I quit watching porn for 1 week and I have the best sex of my life. I didn't know what the true science was behind it, but I couldn't deny the results. But the crazy and sad thing about that is that even though I knew that it was destroying me deep down inside, it still took me years to quit after that point in time. Years. So let's fast forward another year. At this point, I'm 20 years old, still in the military, and I'm living on my own in Hawaii. Life should be amazing, but I'm still heavily addicted to porn. After I moved to Hawaii, I didn't have immediate access to women, so I began to just slip into porn once again. I need you to realize that this is after I've already realized that porn is literally destroying my sexual drive and my sexual ability. But even after knowing this, I still wasn't able to easily push it away. It was a process. I was struggling with porn for years in Hawaii. I was trying to quit, but I would only last a couple of days at a time before relapsing. I remember I would literally look at girls in everyday life and I couldn't help but just mentally undress them. I was treating them like meat sacks. It was disgusting. And there were 3 different girls who came into my life at this time when I was in Hawaii who wanted to have sex. And I remember one of them, we were in my car and she was literally sitting on my lap. Her bra was off and she was just looking down at me, looking into my eyes with that seductive look in her eyes. And do you know what I told her? I told her that I was being celibate for a month and that I couldn't have sex right then. Why did I do that? I was scared. I was scared that if we had sex, I wouldn't be able to stay hard. That's pitiful. I had watched porn the night before, and I knew that from my past, when I watched porn, I did not do well with sex. I knew all of this in my mind, but yet I still watched porn. Looking back now, I'm so disgusted with myself, but that's where I was at a couple years ago. And maybe some of you guys can relate, maybe not, but that's where I was at. And very similar situations popped up with at least 2 other girls during that time period where I was literally too scared to have sex with them because I had recently watched porn and I knew that when I watched porn, I didn't perform well. 20 years old and I was scared to have sex because I felt like might not get hard. It was pitiful. It was truly pitiful. So if we fast forward about 2 or 3 months from this point in time, I'm still 20 years old. No, actually I just turned 21 and I have actually improved a little bit. I managed to quit porn for a couple of weeks. And around that time I meet a new girl and I am feeling in the best state that I felt in a long time. Again, I was mainly quitting porn so that my dick would work. But I couldn't ignore all the other benefits that kept coming along with it. I felt more mentally focused. I felt more confident. I felt like I was able to approach women more smoothly and just be more alive in everyday life. Every aspect of daily life just felt better and I couldn't deny it. But like I said, I meet a new girl and she's absolutely amazing. She's feminine, supportive, seductive, and just stupidly attractive. And I'm finally in a state where I feel like I can perform at my best because I know that I haven't watched porn in weeks. So one day we have a quick little date and we head back to my place and we literally have what was the best sex of my life at that point in time. I have never felt so dominant and so masculine and so powerful in my life up until that point. Again, not to say too much information, but I was on concrete mode the entire time. I felt like a god. And this was only after completely taking a break for about 2 weeks from porn. I'm saying all this dirty stuff to her, smacking her, just doing all the things that I've always wanted to do, but I was always too scared to do in the past because I felt like I might go soft any second. And after that, we literally have sex like 3 times a day for the next month. And I never once struggled with going soft. Not once. So I want you to just imagine that for a second. Going from struggling to stay hard with over 50% of the women that you meet to literally feeling like a god, a beast every time you have sex. And the only thing that changed for me was that I took porn out of my life. That was the only change. I finally felt like a man again. And sure, some guys might say that it was the placebo effect or that it could have been any other number of things, but all I know is what my results were, and that is all I can speak on. I used to struggle, now I don't. I haven't had any issues with that in years. And the only change that I made was taking porn out of my life. So you can do with that whatever you want to do. And like I said, that was all over 2 years ago at this point in time. And life has only continued to improve since then. I haven't had any sexual issues at all since then. It's like a distant memory in my brain, and I'm able to laugh about it now because I know that I will never have those issues again. But at the time, I literally felt like I wasn't a man. So the funny thing is that I started this journey hoping that my guy downstairs would just start working again. But over time, I've realized that the other benefits are just as important, if not more important. So let's jump on into those. So one of the absolute biggest benefits that will come from taking pornography and removing it from your life completely is that it will increase your level of baseline happiness. And this is completely backed by science. So let me explain the simple science behind this, and I'll also link the studies down below. So dopamine is the main chemical in our brains that controls our pleasure and our motivation. So when you feel pleasure and when you feel excitement and when you feel pleasurable emotions inside of yourself, that's controlled by dopamine. So the thing about it is that certain activities trigger different levels of dopamine. Video games trigger high amounts of dopamine. Drugs trigger high amounts of dopamine. Sex triggers high amounts of dopamine. Pornography triggers high amounts of dopamine. And what you need to know about it is that when your dopamine has a very high spike, you will feel extreme pleasure for a moment. But after an extreme spike in dopamine, you don't just go back to your baseline level, you go down below it. So in other words, after you experience an extremely pleasurable activity like watching pornography, you're not going to feel normal afterwards. You're going to feel worse than when you started. And over the course of years and years and years of constantly spiking your dopamine to these unnatural levels, your baseline level of dopamine becomes lower. So you no longer feel pleasure when you're doing everyday activities like hanging out with friends, or eating food, or traveling, or going on a jog, or working out. None of those things trigger enough dopamine release in your body for you to feel real pleasure and real contentment. The thing about it is that porn triggers an extreme level of dopamine release. It triggers so much pleasure in your brain that everything else feels subpar in relation to it. So when you take porn and you throw it out of your life, everything else, the everyday activities, begin to feel more enjoyable again. And again, that's just kind of the quick summarized version of how taking pornography out of your life helps you to feel more baseline happiness on a day-to-day basis. But like I said, the science truly backs this up, and I have linked those down below. You can do your own research. The second benefit that comes along with removing porn from your life is that you will be more motivated to dominate life and to dominate women.
But Alan, we're not supposed to dominate women. It's 2022.
Fuck that shit. Shut the fuck up, okay? Shut the fuck up. Listen, our sex drive, our sex energy is one of the most powerful forces inside of us. Every single aspect of life is centered around the drive for sex. We are biological creatures. We're designed to procreate, to produce seed. That is what we are here for. And of course, there's more to life than sex. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that it is a very powerful force that is ingrained deep within us. Why do you go to work? Of course, you want to be financially free, but you also want to attract a more beautiful, attractive mate. Why do you work out? Sure, you want to be healthy, but you also want to attract a more beautiful, attractive mate. Every single thing that we do is tied back to sex on some level, and there is power in that. I know that when I'm at the gym and I'm doing a squat, for example, and I see a big booty walking by looking all delicious, I instantly get stronger. Easy, set, it becomes easy. That shit is motivational. But the thing is, when you take that drive, our life energy away from someone, they become weak. And that's exactly what you're doing with porn. Think about it. When you watch porn, you are essentially telling your brain that you've reached some extreme level of achievement and you literally have access to all of the most beautiful women in the world. That's what you're telling your brain. Why would you want to do anything after that? You have no reason to. You've already won. But the issue is that you haven't won. You haven't did shit. You're watching these virtual women on a screen. How pitiful is that? But when you take that sexual energy and you don't just waste it, but you let it build up within you, it turns into a resource that you can use to improve other areas of your life. There's a lot of books and ancient philosophers and societies that talk about the power of sexual transmutation. And the idea of sexual transmutation is essentially to take your sexual energy and to not waste it by release, but instead to take it and use it to improve other areas of your life. And a lot of ancient societies talked about it, a lot of philosophers. There's even some popular recent books that talked about it. If you read Think and Grow Rich, I believe it's by Dale Carnegie, it talks a lot about sexual transmutation and how you can use your buildup of sexual energy to improve other areas of your life. And when you do that and use that energy to improve yourself instead of wasting it, you'll notice that your life begins to improve. And then once your life has improved, instead of needing to waste your energy on virtual women, real women will be attracted to you and the life that you're living. So you won't have any reason to bust your nuts to porn because you'll have real women around you. But again, sexual energy is a very, very, very powerful force, and you do not want to waste it. Now, a third benefit that comes from quitting pornography is that it has a massive impact on your testosterone levels. And I have attached the research down below, but according to recent studies, it shows that men who took a break from watching porn and masturbation for just 1 week saw a 145% boost in their testosterone levels. 145%. Now, if you don't know what testosterone is and what it does, essentially it's the God chemical, the Zeus chemical. When you think of what makes a man, testosterone is the fuel for that. Testosterone helps with muscle growth. It helps with sex drive. It makes you more ambitious. It helps you grow more facial hair. It helps reduce stress. It changes your pheromones and makes women more attracted to you. It deepens your voice. There are so many benefits that come with increased testosterone. And the studies are showing that taking away pornography from your life has a massive impact on your testosterone levels after just 1 week. 1 week. And I just want to say, 145% boost in testosterone is absolutely massive, because other studies show that even after 4 weeks of putting weak guys on weightlifting programs, they only saw a 22% increase in their testosterone levels. After 4 weeks of consistent weightlifting, only a 22% increase in testosterone levels. So 22% increase in testosterone levels after 4 weeks of weightlifting versus 145% increase in testosterone levels after 1 week of stepping away from porn. Just think about how massive of an impact that is. If you're trying to become more masculine and become more focused and have less stress in your life and be less foggy headed, taking away porn is one of the quickest ways to do that. And again, like I said, I'm gonna link all of the studies down below that talk about all these different things. I'm not just making this shit up. And the fourth benefit that I want to talk about is the winner effect. And this could absolutely be a placebo. But for me personally, I've noticed that when I stop watching porn for a few days, I feel like a winner. I feel like I'm refusing to give in to instant gratification, and I'm taking the hard way through life. Every time that I masturbate, after I finish, I don't feel like doing anything. I feel like I've completed my purpose and I can just relax and fall asleep. But when I keep that energy in, I'm constantly motivated to keep pushing and keep progressing in life. And you have to spend that sexual energy somewhere. And you can choose to waste it and release it into your hand, or you can choose to use it to build your life up brick by brick by brick, so that you can actually bring beautiful, amazing, feminine, positive, loyal women into your life. They do exist and you can attract them into your life. But the issue is that if you're watching porn, you probably have some mental health issues. Honestly speaking, you probably do. When I was watching porn, I was all types of messed up in the head. I'm not sure if it comes from a lack of love or loneliness or what, but I do know that when I was watching porn constantly, I absolutely had mental health issues. And when you have those issues, you're not going to be attracted to high quality women. And when I say high quality, I'm not just talking about their appearance. Because yes, we obviously want attractive women, but it's deeper than that. When you have mental health issues and you rely on pornography for comfort, then you're not going to be attractive to supportive women, to loyal women, to feminine women, to women who don't have the need for addictions to fill the void within themselves. You're not going to be attractive to high quality women. But anyways, I feel like I'm beginning to rant a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this video for now. But again, this is something that is very important for any man's growth. And if you have never went a month without taking porn out of your life, then I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do it. And in my next video, I'm going to talk about how you can go about actually removing porn from your life. Again, it's not an easy process and it's going to take time, but I know you can do it. And I know that it has been the best thing for my life, and it might be the best thing for your life as well. Anyways, that is the video for today. Subscribe below for more similar videos. Peace out.